I am so excited about tonight. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy days and also your absolute probably disgust with Zoom to come and join us. We greatly appreciate it. It is very, very important to celebrate the accomplishments of the students and faculty and the community partners that we have the pleasure to work with. And we are going to honor all of the greatness that has occurred throughout the year. But to get started with that, I need to acknowledge uh, first our fabulous and wonderful team of staff members that serve said students, faculty, and community partners, and all of the various projects and missions. We have a remarkable team of people that are committed day in and day out, whether it's from home or whether from campus or out on sites, working various hours, sometimes weekends into the night, and now with our new residence hall, seriously into the night, um, to provide opportunities and teaching and learning experiences that are so important and valuable. I've always said that if the Bennion Center weren't invented, someone would have to come along and invent it because it's such a good idea. It's only a really good idea and it only works with a dedicated team like we have. So first and foremost, thank you to my colleagues and the team that works at the Bennion Center full time. Uh, Fantastic work and a great year amidst lots of obstacles. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our amazing board of directors who volunteer their time to provide guidance and serve as a sounding board to the kinds of things that we're doing. They give a lot of time, a lot of energy. They love and support the work that goes on at the center. And it's a fabulous board, tremendous tradition at the Bennion Center. And we couldn't do it without you. So thank you. And I also want to acknowledge the generous donations of individuals, corporations, foundations, who provide all the resources that go into the projects that we're able to provide, the teaching and learning experiences, as I said, but also the co-curricular learning opportunities and community impact opportunities that go on. And then, of course, our most generous sponsor is the University of Utah. And where would we be without them? And so we get hosted and we are privileged to be part of a tremendous campus community. So first and foremost, acknowledge to all of those wonderful people and entities as we get started. I want to provide a bit of a recap. I tend to get long-winded when I want to celebrate, but I'm going to try to keep it brief and just cover some of the highlights. If I miss something, I am so sorry, but it's in an overabundance of trying to keep it short. It's not a slight, and you can email me and complain, and I would be happy to acknowledge it in some other forum. But for tonight, I'm going to talk about what's gone on over the year. You may have heard there's a pandemic on, so we had that to overcome. But in the midst of all that, we did a few things. Just prior to the pandemic hitting us last March, when it really hit us in earnest last March, the Bennion Center led an effort to have the U recognized as a community engaged institution through the Carnegie Foundation. And so that kind of got stepped on last year by this COVID virus, by the coronavirus. And I want to go back and make sure that we fully recognize the fact that the university is now a community engaged institution. It's recognized nationally by the Carnegie Foundation. And that was a tremendous amount of work by a lot of players at the Bennion Center, as well as across campus. Moving on from that, last late spring, the Bennion Center was approved by the university's academic senate and the Utah Board of Higher Education to offer the community engagement certificate Seems like a long time ago now, but that was a tremendous effort on the part of the team at the Bennion Center, specifically Amy Sybil, Megan Medina, and Andy Witzak, to move that forward and get the community engagement certificate that students can now earn a 21 credit academic credential to enhance the major and all the minors. The Bennion Center last year welcomed students and opened the programming in the Gail Miller Community Engagement Tower at Collard Village. That was probably a 3.5-year project that we watched, and we were part of all the meetings and planning, and we donned steel-toed boots and walked through the mud and watched that thing come up out of the ground. What once was a parking lot became a beautiful residential facility. And we are very proud to be one of the sponsors of the programming that goes on in the village at the Community Engagement Tower. This year, the Bennion Center launched its Pathways to Community Engagement course, BENN 2020, for academic credit, which is a fabulous new course that the center is offering in its roster of great community engaged learning courses. Amid the large-scale protests following the dozens of high-profile murders of our Black brothers and sisters, last year, the Bennion Center launched a new community conversation series, dialogue series. We've run 21 dialogues so far every 2 weeks, and it's been a very big success. We've hit close to, not quite, but close to 1,100 people coming through those dialogues, faculty, students, staff, community partners, and it's just been fantastic. So that was started last year, and we're very proud of that. The Bennion Center created a new anti-racism agenda and launched a new diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. It hasn't been fully codified yet, but the anti-racist agenda and the DEI plan is underway and forthcoming. In addition to our regular volunteer service days, the Bennion Center led a volunteer recruitment and organization for very important and quite timely university events, including the cleanup effort following the September Salt Lake City windstorm. As if Corona wasn't enough, we had to deal with an earthquake earlier and then a gigantic windstorm. And the Bennion Center led efforts to clean that up. Bennion Center staff led efforts for the October 2020 vice presidential debate, and which was a unique event for our campus and our community. And then, of course, the ongoing COVID-19 testing and vaccination efforts. Couple of special highlights, shout outs to a couple of our teammates whom you know and love. Bennion Center Associate Director Bobby Jo Cantor was recognized this year with the Vice President Award for Service Excellence. So we're very proud of that. And Utah Reed's Program Manager Asma Hassan received the Malcolm X Award for Social Justice this year. Very, very proud of Asma and Bobby Jo. Fantastic. And then on top of all of that, all of the different projects that students were involved in, all of the different CEL courses that faculty created and implemented, the Bennion Center, and during a pandemic when people were spending money like crazy just to get toilet paper, the Bennion Center met and exceeded its annual development goals early. Actually, at the end of February, we realized that we had surpassed our annual goal for the academic year at the end of February. So that's just fantastic. Amidst all that, we were able to squeeze in into some toilet paper money, and folks decided to invest it in us. And so we're very pleased with that and very proud of that. So tonight is about you. We have lots of fun things planned. We are going to celebrate all of you and all of your efforts throughout the evening. It will be broken up for your enjoyment, entertainment, and to avoid Zoom burnout. And we've got trivia questions, and we've got awards to give out, and so we're really excited about that. And following this formalized celebration, there is going to be a student leader social. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it to Anai and Lauren to talk about the Bennion Scholars Program highlights this year.
A brief introduction to the Bennion Scholars Program. Bennion Scholars work in collaboration with community organizations and faculty mentors to complete large capstone projects aimed at creating positive community change. And then as an official transcript designation program, Bennion Scholars complete 10 credits of community engaged learning coursework, 300 hours of volunteering, a 100-hour capstone project, and reflections throughout the program.
Thanks, Lauren. Hi, everybody. My name is Anai, and I was the lead coordinator this year. And so I also just want to take just a moment to thank the Scholars Leadership team, who consisted of Danny Bay, Ben Bolingbrook, Taylor Chang, Nick Galloway, Lauren Harvey, Katrina Lay, and then myself. A lot of them put in a lot of hard work for a pretty roller coaster of a year. And so they did a lot of great work, and we were lucky to have them on the team this year.
Yeah, as Anai said, this year has definitely been a roller coaster, but despite the pandemic and everything else going on, we had 50 active scholars, 16 scholars completing capstone projects, 17 scholars that are currently working on projects. And then I also want to give a shout out to everyone's persistence and resilience as well. So way to go, guys.
Thank you, Anai and Lauren. As the accumulating experience of the program, Bennion Scholars complete a capstone project. Each project must relate to the student's academic area, address a community identified need, and have a sustainable impact. Scholars commit to at least 100 hours on their capstone projects, so these are no small feat. So this year we have 16 Bennion Scholars who completed their capstone projects. And to put that into perspective, last academic year we had 6. So what's even more amazing about these students is that all of the fall 2020 and spring 2021 completing scholars began their project pre-pandemic and then adapted and persisted and completed despite all the world events that have happened in the last year. So I am incredibly and extremely proud of all the scholars that are being recognized today. I wish that we could all be in person to acknowledge all these students, community partners, and faculty mentors' hard work. Since we do not have the in-person feedback of applause and shout outs, I would like to encourage everyone to utilize the chat function as a kind of virtual kudos board. So feel free to give shout outs and let people know, why you think they're awesome. And this is not just for scholars, this is for all of our students that we're recognizing and all the programs that we're recognizing tonight. So let's be there for each other. So let's begin with our student recognition with our first 3 scholars. Okay, so Bridget Dorsey completed her scholars project and graduated from the University of Utah this fall 2020. For her capstone project, Bridget established a pediatric ostomy support group for young people who have had or will have ostomy surgery and their caretakers. Despite the pandemic changing the entire format of her project and outreach from in-person to online, she managed to pull together people and resources to lay the foundation of this important support group. Her community partner was Sarah Zobel at Primary Children's Hospital, and her faculty mentor was Leslie Fry. Good job, Bridget. Our next scholar is Mary Jo Dalton. Mary Jo discovered a 2019 campus-wide survey that found 73.2% of U of U students reported feeling very lonely in the past 12 months. That's 23,892 students. That stat motivated Mary Jo to work with her community partner, Jenna Templeton at the Center for Student Wellness, and her faculty mentor, Richard Landward, to create a program that will train U of U faculty in practices to address loneliness among students in their classrooms. The next scholar is Dallas Blackburn. Dallas worked with Paul Kuttner at University Neighborhood Partners and Dr. Ella Myers to research policy and legal barriers to parental involvement in school community councils. In particular, local community councils are overrepresented by white parents compared to the student demographics of those schools. Dallas plans on continuing researching for the public good by entering a graduate program in labor studies this fall.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby Jo Cantor, and I'm the Associate Director for Co-Curricular Programs at the Bennion Center. I'm here to talk about the Exceptional Community Engagement Awards. The Exceptional Community Engagement Award is intended to recognize students who take action in pursuit of long-term positive social change, inspire and engages others, demonstrates efforts to sustain their work through developing strategies for institutional and community commitment, and exhibits motivation and potential for effective long-term civic engagement. As part of the application process, students were asked how they demonstrated exceptionalism within their program, and also to provide a reference who could speak to their experience. The applications were impressive to read, and I want to thank the members of the Bennion Center Student Programs Committee who reviewed the applications and selected these recipients. It is my honor and privilege to present them to you this evening. Our first recipient is Erica Burko. Erica has worked as a tutor and a site leader with the Utah Reads program, and she was also a member of the Bennion Center's student board. Erica shared that the most impactful thing that she accomplished during her time at the Bennion Center was creating and implementing training around diversity, equity, inclusion, justice, and anti-racism for the Utah Reads program. This led to tutors who were better prepared for working with elementary students who live predominantly in communities of color. Erica, thank you for your hard work and dedication. Congratulations. Our next Exceptional Community Engagement awardee is Mary Jo Dalton. We just met Mary Jo a moment ago as Megan detailed her work with the Scholars Program. In addition to that work, she also participated in community partnership programs and alternative breaks. Her reference said, when Mary Jo started on the Scholars Leadership team, she took on the task basically single-handedly of putting together the Civic Leadership Conference. She brought it to new heights, and we all know that this was no small effort. Mary Jo, thank you for all of your efforts at the Bennion Center, as well as on and off campus. Congratulations on this award.
Okay, everybody, it's trivia time. Yeah. So question one, what year was the Bennion Center founded at the U? Second question, before being called the Bennion Scholars, the program was known as. All right, question one, 1987 is the answer, and you guys are doing pretty well. And then on the second question, the correct answer is all of the above. So kind of spread out there, but all in all, 2 for 2, majority wins. So good job. Next up, I want to talk about the awesome communication team and highlight the comm team members who are part of this. Up first, Darren Ty, the collaboration coordinator. And using what photos I had, I noticed he actually pulls off this sleeveless, armless suit. And he's so dedicated to collaboration, he even has accompanying tattoos. Next up, we have Kate Button. She graduates this spring. She's been part of the comm team for 3 years now. She predates me. She's been awesome, taught me a lot of things, and has really created a really great social media, primarily Instagram account. Caden Daly, he's our writing coordinator. Keep an eye out for an upcoming At the U article. Still finalizing titles, but it's around community engaged learning at the U. And then Serena, she's our digital coordinator. She is spinning the World Wide Web on her fingertip. It's amazing. She's done great things. She knows more about everything that I wish I knew more about on the digital side. And even her brain is projecting Wi-Fi. Mara Lee, she's our outreach coordinator and is crucial in the success of our student leader applications that are basically concluded. She has a lot of arms because she's outreaching to everywhere. Next up, we have Lauren. She's our design coordinator. She has a lot of creative ideas, is what's coming out of around her head. And she's even wearing a Pantone color guide as a hair barrette. Okay. And then we have Carlos, who's the video coordinator who helped His biggest impact and contribution was around the student leader application, student leader testimonial video, which we'll get to view towards the end of this. And then some highlights. So Instagram, over the past 90 days, 55,400 impressions total, 177 new followers. In that time, also 27 posts, 190 stories, and 2,600 combined likes, comments. So, Kate, you've done awesome. Everyone involved on the comm team, a lot of content. In this year of COVID, it's been really hard to get photos outside of Zoom screenshots. So thank you for all the hard work there. Student leader applications, total 118 applications. It's just exciting to see all of the interest across campus, that especially from students new to the Bennion Center and or new to a specific program. At the U articles, as mentioned, Hayden's article is coming up. And then a few other things, website redesign. This compares January 1st to April 14th this year versus last year. We did some redesign, some refresh of the menu layout, just the kind of website journey, user experience, if you will. We've increased new users by 113% and up 95% in page views. So a pretty huge increase. So we're happy with that. Advertising, lots of artwork for different events and applications throughout the year. And back to Darren and the student board, we're really focused on collaboration. This year was a tough year, but we had a good start and excited for next year. Dear student leaders and staff, thank you very much. We are grateful for your collaboration with us. Next up.
Yes, next up, I'll talk about some of the stuff our community engaged cohorts have done this year. And while we don't have very fancy graphics here, we are fortunate enough that we were still able to, despite COVID, persevere and get around 2,600, probably over that many hours through all of our programming and the work of our fantastic student leaders, kind of just listed out to the left. So some highlights were our first year experience teams organizing and planning Legacy of Lowell and MLK Saturday service projects, and also including virtual options or remote options for people to participate while still fulfilling the pathways of community engagement. Also putting on new pathway forums based on careers and community engagement, and additionally some political activism, I believe. Our Rotaract Club established a successful relationship with a sister club in Mexico. So they've been collaborating on projects and communicating. So it's fantastic to see that international collaboration. And our Service Corner has launched Service Corner Nights this semester at the Bennion Center kiosk in the Callert Village. So we've been able to provide people on campus and those visiting with 11 opportunities to get involved in projects in the community, and also remote options to just grab and go. So we're excited at all we've done and looking forward to see these ideas next year as well.
Thanks, Casper, and great work, community engagement cohorts. That's awesome. Okay, so we have our next round of Bennion Scholars that we are recognizing, and we're starting out with Ayana Amechi. Ayana worked with Drs. Ed and Carol Diener to facilitate support groups to better address collegiate mental well-being in Utah. She worked with Wellbeing Elevated. Her community partner, Alexander Beecraft, wanted to let me know what Ayana's contributions have meant to this mental health startup. And he said, quote, "From our beginning, Ayana has been willing to offer her talents in every facet of our organization's tasks, including technology design, creation of mental health content, outreach and partnerships, marketing, and the list goes on. It is a rare and remarkable to see someone who can perform at such high levels in seemingly disparate arenas. Ayana's intellect is truly panoramic." And I couldn't agree more. Congrats, Ayana. Our next scholar is Ashlyn Conlin. Ashlyn worked with the support of her faculty mentors, Dr. Nancy Nickman and Dr. Dave Peterson, and with Evan Dunn at USARA to develop a Medicare enrollment or Medicaid enrollment process guide for patients with opioid use disorder. Her Bennion Scholars Capstone Project was also her pharmacy doctorate project, and after multiple years of work, she is graduating this spring as a pharmacist. So congrats, Ashlyn, both on your project and on your hard work in your program. And finally for this section, Catherine Poggio. Catherine is passionate about pelvic floor health. Seriously, if you want to talk to someone, have a just real heart-to-heart about your pelvic floor, Catherine is the person to go to. She created a pelvic floor health resource guide and presented it to older adults in Salt Lake County with the help of Maureen Gallagher at Murray Senior Recreation Center. She also shared this guide with and trained her peers about this important topic as part of her kinesiology capstone course with faculty mentor Josh LaRoe. So great work, Catherine, and can't wait to see how your work continues on in the future.
We are so pleased to recognize Alice Snelling with the Exceptional Community Engagement Award. Alice participated as a site leader for the Animal Advocacy Alternative Break, the AB Light, this spring. She was one of our fantastic student leaders who helped the Bennion Center adapt to the COVID restrictions and continue to provide quality community engagement experiences. Alice shared that she designed an AB Light that encompassed many aspects of animal advocacy, including adoption and rescue, as well as local conservation efforts in the wild and in captivity. Her reference applauded her efforts by noting that her investment became apparent in her AB experience. Alice breathed much needed life and critical education into our animal advocacy and rehabilitation break, paving the way for this experience to break from its usual position in our program to encompass a new and more accessible role as a local multi-partner break. Congratulations, Alice. The next recipient is Alexandra Acuna. Alex is a dedicated member of the Alternative Breaks leadership team, holding positions as both a site leader and as chair-elect of the e-board. Alex is also the AB representative on the student board this year. Alex said that Alternative Breaks gave me the platform and space to challenge individual, programmatic, and institutional shortcomings. Using this knowledge and critical framework, I was able to advance and foster sustainable, community-centered change. Her reference spoke of her dedication, resilience, and extraordinary efforts to support the participants on the Immigration AB Light this spring. Alex, thank you for your leadership and dedication. Congratulations.
It's that time again. So here we go. Question number 1, since we've all become so accustomed to Zoom, when was it launched? Second question, what is the main ingredient in the COVID-19 vaccine? Okay, pretty clear. It's looking good. Ending polling in a couple seconds. And good job, everyone. 2013, correct. And also, wow, you guys are doing amazing. All right, trivia time is done.
Hey everyone, I'm Ria and I'm one of the student issue area coordinators and the student board representative for community partnership programs, and I'm super excited to share about what we've accomplished this past year. So community partnership programs connect student volunteers with local organizations in the greater Salt Lake City area. Through reciprocal partnerships with over 45 programs, students can become an advocate of justice as they work alongside the partner to gain an understanding of specific community issues, professional development experience, and connections to other volunteers with shared interests. On the slides are the community partners and student leaders in each of the issue areas. And this year, like so many others, our partnership liaisons were asked to find new ways to engage and meet community needs. In our monthly reflections, partnership liaisons spoke about how meaningful it was to provide continuity in programming through the pandemic, the increased volunteer interest, and how important the community at the Bennion Center was. Though our total volunteer hours decreased due to difficulties and programming changes because of the pandemic, over 95% of our programs continue to operate in support of the community partners. We are so excited for next year as our new student leaders step into their roles and continue the efforts to strengthen our communities. We'd also like to thank all the student leaders and community partners who work to ensure the success of these partnerships, and to everyone who is graduating, congrats. Thanks.
Alrighty, hello again. Alex Acuna, Chair-elect of the Alt Breaks program. So a little bit about Alt Breaks. The program engages our U of U community in justice-based learning experiences over school breaks. And this year brought a lot of uncertainty that forced us to reimagine what impactful justice-based learning experiences could really look like and programming look like. So in the face of adversity, our AB team more than rose to the occasion while embodying resilience and strength. We were able to implement cost-free, hyper-local COVID-conscious experiences, which we called AB Lite. And on the previous slide, you were seeing pictures of those experiences. And in doing so, we were able to make our program more accessible than what has been previously been achievable. And none of this would have been possible without the fearless work of our executive board and program manager. Our non-performative commitment to anti-racism and access and inclusion led to a powerfully dynamic team that was not afraid to take the stances necessary to ensure the safety and well-being of our communities. But above all, we are very grateful to have an amazing team of student site leaders and staff and faculty partners who tirelessly work to put together deeply meaningful experiences. We are thrilled to see a surge of liberation-oriented curriculum on our breaks this year, and that was the direct outcome of unapologetic student activism. Alt Breaks is proud to be a space shaped by our student leaders, and we're excited to continue that legacy.
It is hard to follow those amazing programs, but it is my privilege to get to share about a couple more scholars and their amazing work over the last year. Caitlin Gross is our next scholar that we're recognizing. In 2019, the University of Utah, the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition, and more than 10 campus and community partners received a $300,000 grant to build a coordinated community response to improve outreach, awareness, and prevent interpersonal violence on the U campus. Kate worked with Claire Mosby at UDVC and Dr. Sonia Solari to develop the strategic plan for this grant. Kate plans on continuing to address interpersonal violence through macro level social work. Way to go, Caitlin. Next, Chelsea Lee is passionate about health, access to quality healthcare, and health equity. She brought these passions to her capstone project work with the Director of Community Engagement for U of U Health, Riley Curtis, and faculty mentor, Dr. Lawrence Parker. Chelsea used database analysis to create a report of racial health disparities in Salt Lake County and shared recommendations for how to better track these disparities and be able to address them with University of Utah Health. Very important work, and I'm so glad you were doing it, Chelsea. And finally, in this section, Rachel McNeil. Compelled by her own lived experiences, Rachel strives to help others. She has been engaged in multiple community projects and is working towards becoming a licensed clinical social worker. For her capstone project, she worked with Alejandra Hernandez at Rose Park Neighborhood Center and Dr. Patrick Panos to implement a digital literacy program for refugees and immigrants. Great work, Rachel.
I am so pleased to recognize Ahmed Khalif as an exceptional community engagement recipient. Ahmed participates with the Alternative Breaks program and has been an active site leader and is the current chair of the e-board. Ahmed shared, Alternative Breaks has shaped a new perspective on how I view social justice. I fell in love with the program and have devoted the past 4 years of my life to this program. His reference shared that Ahmed cares for the experiences of others within the program, striving to provide them with the transformative and lasting Alt Breaks experiences that he himself had as a site leader, while also advocating for the change he knows is necessary to improve the program. Ahmed, thank you for your leadership, commitment to the dedication and success of the AB program. Congratulations. I would also like to recognize Anna Tidwell as our next awardee. Anna has been active in the Bennion Center's community partnership programs as both a partnership liaison and the education issue area coordinator. And I had the pleasure of working with her throughout this year, most of the time at 7 a.m. Speaking about her work as a partnership liaison, Anna says, 3 years ago, when I came on as a program director, there were no volunteers active with my group, nor was there a consistent following of participants. I spent my first year recruiting volunteers, drawing methods to draw TBI survivor participation, and meeting with multiple community partners to discuss strategies to increase the efficacy of the program. Since then, I've helped grow the program into a firm collection of both participants and volunteers. Her reference also mentioned that Anna has encouraged her peers to seek leadership roles, noting that the new education issue area coordinator is one of Anna's former partnership liaisons, and one of her Headstrong volunteers applied to fill her role as partnership liaison, which are testaments to Anna's ability to inspire. Thank you, Anna, for your work with the community partnership programs. Congratulations.
All right, trivia time. 2 questions. Number 1, what was the highest grossing movie in theaters during the pandemic? And then second, what was the number 1 term searched on Google in 2020? Ooh, it's fun to see what I see. Okay. First question. The question number 1, the correct answer is Tenet. Number 2, correct answer is elections results. So we'll get them next time.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Asma, and I will be talking for Utah Reads. Kim, our student board rep, couldn't be here because of work. So Utah Reads, let me just start off by telling everyone a little bit about what we do. All right, so Utah Reads, our mission is to provide quality, individualized reading support to elementary students in the Salt Lake area. And our vision is to ensure that students have equitable access to education regardless of their socioeconomic status, and to establish a learning environment that encourages students to utilize strategies and develop student leaders who serve as reading specialists, mentors, and advocates. This year, we were partnered with 7 elementary schools and 1 after-school program. And these are all of my wonderful site coordinators. I'm so happy, to have each of them in our team. So, okay, so this year was quite challenging. We had to shift a lot of our programming to virtual. Thankfully, we were able to adapt. So with virtual tutoring, we were able to offer it in fall, and we're offering it spring. So far, we have 55 students in our program that have been tutored or are being tutored currently. We also came up with this education activity project idea. We started that in the summer. Our initial plan was to do 4 bi-weekly kits. And after the 4th kit, it ended up being such a good idea that we added 2 more weeks in the summer. So over the summer, we were able to do 384 kits or more. And then in the fall and spring, we continued to offer that as another project idea for our students so that they could still continue to work in work study. So fall and spring, so far we have put together over 150 education kits. And with the education kits, the tutors really come up with the themes. And so some of the themes that were really cool was around technology and learning styles, pandemic heroes, art discovery, STEM exploration, which we were able to partner with Science in the Parks. So thank you, Ani. That was a really fun thing for our students to receive, like kits on how to, how I believe it was like the knee, how that works. So that was pretty cool. And along with that, a lot of our tutors also did read aloud videos that we could share with our students. We also put a lot of the education kit projects on like a website for parents to visit as well. And for our virtual after school program, which was also done virtually with our Glendale CLC partnership, we have a small group of students there that are able to do emotional fun activities together. So trying to build a little bit of what was lost with the learning lab at the Glendale CLC. So those are just some of the things that we've done this year. So.
All right, hi everyone. For those of you who don't know, I'm Amy Sybil, Assistant Director for Community Engaged Learning at the Bennion Center, as well as CEL Coordinator for the School of Biology. And I'm here to give you just a little brief overview of the CEL landscape here at the University of Utah. I think most of you know a lot of this information, but it's nice to hear the broad reach that CEL has at U of U campus. So our data isn't fully in yet because this academic year hasn't been completed. So I'm going to show from last year, and we expect numbers to actually be even bigger. But we offer 220 different CEL designated courses. Over 4,700 students last year enrolled in at least one of those courses. And we've got 56 departments and programs in 11 different colleges. So a lot of breadth, a CEL class for everyone, like I like to say. And then over 130 different instructors, faculty members teaching these courses in, again, this wide array of topics. It's just the level of community work going on really boggles my mind. Over 94,000 hours of community-based work done by CEL students in all kinds of social and environmental issues. If you want to see the full list of CEL classes, you can go to our website, or you can go to the registrar's online catalog and just search for that CEL attribute, which is really cool. As Dean mentioned at the beginning of this wonderful celebration, we're so excited for being able to offer our now community engagement certificate. It's an amazing credential that students can have on their academic record that really shows that a student has gained skills, knowledge, values, and agency to create just, equitable, and sustainable communities, which is, of course, what the Bennion Center is all about. You complete a community-based capstone project that is over the course of the year, working with and in community, addressing whatever complex social or environmental challenge is most interesting and you're most passionate about. It requires 21 credit hours, 15 of which are CEL classes. And going through this process of this rich array of CEL classes combined with this year-long capstone project really prepares students to enter the workforce in a nonprofit organization, working maybe with a social impact private sector firm, or being a social entrepreneur. So many ways to apply these project management, communication, and commitment skills that you gain over the certificate. Any undergraduate student that you can participate in this certificate program regardless of major, so open to lots of folks. Andy Witzak's the one to talk to if you want to pursue that, which we highly encourage. And then finally, my last bit of information is to share this year's faculty award winners, which we're so happy to recognize. We have an amazing culture of engaged faculty. We want to recognize at least a few of them each year. We have 2 official awards, the Public Service Professor Award, the Distinguished Faculty Service Award, and this year's winners are our 2021-22 Public Service Professor is Milad Hosseini Mosari from the Multidisciplinary Design Program in the College of Architecture and Planning. His project is so amazing. He's utilizing this award to launch this innovation hub in partnership with the International Rescue Committee. They're creating this really cool, accessible, collaborative space where digital access and tech literacy will be supported in the immigrant community, which of course has historically experienced inequity in technological access. I can't wait to see what his work brings about, and he'll be presenting that next year for us, so you'll be invited to that. And then I'm so pleased to say that Professor Kathleen Zick is our 2021 Distinguished Faculty Service Award winner. She is amazing. She's been at the U for 39 years, has taken on all kinds of leadership roles, been an incredible teacher and researcher. And in all of those leadership, teaching, and research roles, she's embedded engagement as the foundation for her work. She's had an immeasurable positive impact on the human condition and well-being here in our community. So kudos to Kathleen and Milad, and what a great way to end. Thanks, everyone.
I was just saying, Kathleen was one of my professors. She's amazing. So wonderful, and really great recipients of those awards. Okay, so for the next 2 scholars, I met both of them when they were first year students with big, bold ideas, but also the talent and drive to actually make them happen. They've each been working on their capstone projects for over 2 years. Indigo Mason is a tireless champion for access to sexual health care and sex-positive education. For their capstone project, they collaborated with health educators, Jenna Templeton at the Center for Student Wellness, Kyle Myers at Family Planning Elevated, and faculty mentor Dr. Jessica Sanders to pilot a free mail delivery and pickup program for safer sex supplies called the Pleasure Pack Delivery Service. They also developed a toolkit to assist universities interested in creating a similar program on their campuses. Great work, Indigo. I know that you're even doing more amazing things. You all should talk to Indigo about the awesome work they do. Next, Ani Salcedo remembers when she first saw a person of color pursuing a science degree and began to envision herself as a scientist. She wanted to create this opportunity for other youth. For her capstone project, she created a student-run program, Science in the Parks, to provide accessible science education to underserved youth on the west side of Salt Lake City, with Jared Martinez, a University Neighborhood Partners, and faculty mentor Adam Beeler. Rock on, Anna E. Your legacy will remain at the U. Next up, Danny Bay is graduating this summer with his PhD in biology. As a doctoral student, he sought out the Scholars Program because of his desire to make science more accessible, especially to those currently incarcerated. For his Scholars Capstone Project, Danny worked with faculty mentor Nalini Nadkarni and Laura George at STEMCAT to create year-long science lesson plans for youth in juvenile detention centers to support those students in their efforts to pursue science education. I'm so excited to see what your next chapter holds for you, Danny, and good job on your project.
We would like to congratulate Kate Button as an Exceptional Community Engagement Awardee. Kate has been an integral member of the Bennion Center's communication team, participating as a social media coordinator for the last 3 years. She has worked to support and train staff and students through this role. Her reference noted how adept Kate is at sharing key messages about why community engagement efforts matter, which was echoed by Kate, who shared that because of the Bennion Center, she has gained insights into the value of community engagement and will remain dedicated to making the world a better place. Thank you, Kate, and congratulations again.
Nice job, Kate. All right, you know what time it is. 2 more questions. How many collective dogs do the 13 Bennion Center professional staff members own? And then second, what is the name of our very own Megan Medina's beautiful and relatively new baby? Okay, looking good. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first question. Wow, you guys got it right. 18 is the answer, and also very close on number 2, but Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a winner, SYLAS. Yeah, okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eduardo Barba. I had the privilege this year of serving and representing as a liaison between the Bennion Service House and the Gail Miller Community Engagement Tower at Collar Village in partnership with Housing and Residential Education. So just kind of reflecting back on our year within Res Ed. You can see our wonderful list of RAs there within Collar Village, myself within the Service House, and all of my wonderful residents. So I think as a whole, 722 collective engagement hours were reported as of February of 2021. We did participate in Legacy of Lowell and MLK alongside a multitude of Saturday service projects, including serving food at the Youth Resource Center and doing cleanup at the Jordan River. So yeah, KB resident advisors worked to integrate nearly 300 new students to the community, as mentioned previously. And yeah, and we also did facilitate 2 service house dialogues, which were titled People Experiencing Homelessness and Overcoming the Pandemic. So the 2 photographs there illustrate our work. There on the first photograph was taken outside the Youth Resource Center, and our second was building cat shelters within the Union building. So yeah, that's Res Ed. Thank you.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Darren Tyne. I'm the communications team coordinator as well as a student board representative. And I'll be kind of talking about some of our accomplishments this year as a student board. So yeah, here's a picture of just our amazing team. I had a great time getting to know everybody on our team this year. We had a lot of 7 a.m. mornings where we got to collaborate a lot. So there you go, the next slide, Chris. So the purpose of the student board, for those who aren't aware, so our whole goal is to support the work of the Bennion Center through having effective dialogues, hosting and creating different programmings and events, overall collaboration, and providing a unique perspective from each of our individual programs. And so the goals we set out this year, knowing it was going to be kind of a virtual environment in the Zoom, is that we wanted to build a sense of community for all of the Bennion Center students, and also help the Bennion Center continue to be a resource for education, especially with social equity issues that were going on. We really wanted to promote that. And then lastly, just implementing outreach methods to make sure we were engaging all of our students. And so some of the highlights we had this year and kind of a look back of the events that we were able to put on. We had that trivia night at the beginning of the semester where we hopefully were kind of built that initial engagement and community with our students. We had a Zoom cooking hours where we were able to kind of talk more about food insecurity and resources available to students. Art and activism was talking about how those two intertwine and the importance in our community. The coffee hour, really how do you navigate a pandemic and taking care of yourself and mental health. And we really tried to kick it off with a community quest where, you could go around campus. Our idea was to kind of get people to go around, get involved in their own ways and be proud of their accomplishments. So this is kind of the one picture we had from all of our meetings this year. And so we just want to say thank you to everybody for collaborating with us and making the student board possible.
Awesome work, everybody, and all the programs. I'm just really impressed with everything that everyone's managed to do in this year. For our last two scholars that we're recognizing tonight, both of these scholars are currently working on their projects, are completing them, and graduating this summer. So first up, Jasmine Garcia cares deeply about the environment and equitable community engagement when it comes to environmental action. For Jasmine's capstone project, she is working with Soren Simonson at the Jordan River Commission and Professor Jennifer Falstead-Shaw in Environmental and Sustainability Studies. Jasmine and her peers are creating promotional materials for the Love Your Watershed initiative to reduce stormwater pollution in the Jordan River. Next, Johnny Rivera wants to ensure all students have access to wellness support. For his capstone project, he is creating a program called Walk and Talks for community students to be physically active and aware of mental health resources on campus. He's working with Lindsay Wetzel-Poland at the Center for Student Wellness and Joshua Laurel in kinesiology. So great work, both Jasmine and Johnny, and can't wait to see what your projects, how they turn out, and celebrate you even more this summer when you graduate.
I am excited to recognize Anaí Salcido as an Exceptional Community Engagement awardee. As you all know, Anaí has been active in the Bennion Scholars Program, completing the program just recently. She has also been a member of the Scholars Leadership Team and, of course, a contributing member to the Student Board. Anaí has used her time at the Bennion Center to leave a strong Science in the Parks program in our community and to improve the training and mentorship efforts within the Scholars Program. Anaí's reference says that I am struggling to find the right phrases to summarize how exceptional Anaí is when it comes to community engagement. Not only has she worked tirelessly to make a positive change in her community, she has allowed this work to change her and to be transformed by this experience. Anaí, thank you for your energy and perseverance. Congratulations. Our final Exceptional Community Engagement Award recipient is Danny Bay. Danny is a doctoral student who has, again, also just completed the Bennion Scholars Program and is active on the Scholars Leadership Team. In his application, Danny said, bringing about a long-term positive social change is not easy. Meaningful change requires a long-term collaborative effort from many who share similar vision. It is my desire to transform our communities and the world into a more equitable and just place. I believe the only way to achieve this is through an effective long-term civic engagement with like-minded others. Danny, we are so pleased that you shared your passion and energy with us, and we stand with you in efforts to build more just communities. Congratulations.
The Bennion Center has always been a refuge for me.
One thing I love about the Bennion Center is the inclusive culture that we have.
The Bennion Center is sort of the hub of community engagement on campus, and so any type of community engagement, whether it's arts or activism or the environment or health, like all the different ways that you can be involved in the community, I think the Bennion Center has a program for it.
What I've loved about my experience at the Bennion Center so far is being able to come every day and have a community of students where we can really be open with each other and have conversations about either current events or things going on in the world right now, and how we as students have the ability to impact either our campus community or our broader community as a whole. And so it's been really fun collaborating with different students.
One experience that stands out to me is an alt break I went on in maybe sophomore year to Los Angeles, and we were focused on learning about HIV and AIDS.
For me, it's been a journey of self-growth and finding out what I'm exactly passionate about. For me, when I started, I didn't really know what I wanted to do or how I wanted to help out or how I wanted to impact people. But through that first year, finding out what I wanted to do and then tailoring it slowly. And now that I'm a junior, I kind of have a better idea of who I am and what I want to do.
I think the Bennion Center is really unique because it has something for everyone. Whether you're, whether you're like me and you're working 2 jobs, you're a full-time student, you have an internship, things like that, you can still find a spot in the Bennion Center that fits your availability.
The reason that I applied to be a student leader was when I first started searching around our campus and the opportunities that are offered, I really wanted to get involved in our campus community particularly. And I've heard a lot of good things about the Bennion Center and a lot of the work that we do here and how impactful it is in our community.
The Bennion Center for me has been like one of the highlights of my college experience so far. And the people that I've met through it are people that I'm gonna stick with for years to come.
Just want to say thank you to everyone that took the time to attend this. Thank you to all the student leaders, staff, community partners, faculty, etc., for everything you do. And so thank you. Following this, Anai and Casper, if you guys want to jump on, we have some exciting activities prepared.
So anyone who wants to stay on afterwards, we're just going to have like a little social Zoom room where people can catch up, talk about current events, whatever they want to, and then another one where we'll kind of be more laid back playing some games. So anyone who's interested, feel free to stick around.